What's up, YouTube? Erod212 here with another video. So Miles Morales just turned 10 years old. I can't believe that this character, which has impacted so much uh, in comics right now and just has become that iconic, beloved character, is 10 years old. I remember buying that book off the shelf. But let's take a look at what books we should own for Miles Morales. All right. So, like I said, I mean that beloved character who changed everything, just transcended that cartoon, made him a household name. Little kids dress up like Miles all over the place. Adults dress up like Miles. Everybody loves Miles Morales. I can't wait to see him live action. But let's take a look at what books I think you should either look for or have an eye out for, because some of them are far priced out, out of normal person's range. It really got pricey. But there are still some affordable books out there that you can get for future spec that I would keep an eye out for. Or if you're hitting a flea market or hitting a place that doesn't know what a Marvel Previews is and you find it in a stack and they're selling them, look for Marvel Previews number 95, because this is the first picture of Ultimate Fallout 4, and then Miles Morales in there. So it's kind of predates Ultimate Fallout 4. The next book to look for is Ultimate Fallout 4. Just an iconic book that really, really took off. Now, the idea for Miles Morales was actually thought of around 2008, 2009, during the inauguration of President Obama. And they decided to try it in the mainstream, the Ultimate Universe, where they could actually do a character and possibly let it die in that universe, was a perfect place to try it out. And that's where Ultimate Fallout 4, the introduction of Miles Morales, comes in. Now, besides the regular edition, we have a newsstand edition, which is probably about only 5% print run compared to the regular edition. You also have the beautiful Jurjevic 1 in 25, which is probably one of the premier Miles Morales books to get in a 9.8. I got really lucky many years ago and purchased that book for $25, and I got it in a 9.6. It came back a 9.6. I'm super happy. But the funny thing with that book is that book was in Five Below packs at one time. That's true, because we know a guy, Archangel, who had like 4 or 5 copies that he got from Five Below. Now, they weren't in the East Coast because I checked every Five Below near me that I could find. Couldn't find them, but out by him, they were in packs. So just be aware that happens sometimes. Same thing happened with the all-new .1 second prints. Those were in Five Below packs, so every once in a while, it's good to get them. With the Ultimate Fallout 4, you also have the second print variant, which now commands about $1,000 in a 9.8. And you have the second print reveal, which is the Sarah Pacelli. Miles is pulling up this mask. So all good books to own for Miles if you want to have that first appearance of Miles. The second print ones are a little more affordable in that price range where people can afford to get them. Next book I want to talk about is Ultimate Comics Spider-Man number 1. And that is the second appearance of Miles Morales. And it is the first appearance of the Ultimate Prowler, who is Miles' uncle. He is also the reason that Miles gets his powers, because he breaks into a warehouse owned by the Green Goblin, and that spider sneaks into his bag. Miles goes to visit his uncle, which he shouldn't be, and the spider bites Miles. Hence, we have Miles Morales. Really, really good book to have. It's picked up a lot of steam. Thing with that, it also came in a poly bag, so it's hard to see, and its poly bag was not clear. It's a white poly bag with the spider symbol on it. But that book, you'd have to get it pressed out 9 out of 10 times because you get that seam along the back of it. Ultimate Comics number 2, Spider-Man number 2, is the first appearance of Gank Lee. Now, he's kind of been portrayed in the books. It looks like Gank, but they call it Ned Leeds. But Gank Lee is Miles Morales' sidekick. And Ultimate Comics number 2 is his first appearance. Next up is Ultimate Comics number 5, and that's the origin of the red and black costume. Important because it's become iconic for Miles, that red and black costume, when he evolves and he goes from kind of like the homemade costume to the costume that everybody knows and loves right now. Next book you might want to look for, and this is affordable, is Spider-Man #1. This is the first time that Peter Parker and Miles Morales meet. It's a brief meeting in this book, but they do meet in Spider-Man #2. They battle each other. Spider-Man #1, first meeting of Peter Parker and Miles Morales. Next book you should look for is Cataclysm: The Ultimate Last Stand #3. And importance of this book is that this is the first time that Miles Morales goes to the 616. Remember, he's in the Ultimate Universe. But because of ongoing things that are happening in the Ultimate Universe with Galactus coming and everything else, Miles gets to go through the 616. So kind of important because Miles eventually becomes part of the 616, which is the mainstream for all superheroes. Next book that I like is Miles Morales, Ultimate Spider-Man #1. That's the first issue in his ongoing series. It's when he gets his actual own title with his name on it. Along with that, you have the 1 in 15 Peterson variant, which has gotten really, really hot. Nice book to own. I actually have a copy of this. Also, the Fiona Staples 1 in 50, which is unbelievable. Kind of depicts that scene in the movie where he's running along the cab. That's the 1 in 50. That book is a $2,500 book now. I let go of mine way too soon. I had a nice 9.8, but that's what happens. I'm always on the hunt for one. If I could find one for an affordable price, I will pick that book up again, and it won't leave my collection. Next book we should look at is Secret Wars #1, and this is from the Hickman series. But at Heroes Con, they had a variant, and it depicted Miles Morales in Secret Wars #8. It's a homage to that Secret Wars #8. It's fantastic. I know my man Roman Curtis has had a couple of really nice copies. I believe Biggie's had a real nice copy of that book. A book I do not own in my collection, and I'm still hunting for, but a really nice book to pick up. The other book that I like is Secret Wars #9, the variant cover for that. And that's the one you'll see with Peter Parker and Spider-Man, and he's got his arm around him talking to him. I love it. It's just like passing the torch type of picture cover, and really, really cool cover to own. Next book that you should all be looking for, and most people know about this book already, is Spider-Man #1, and that's the hip-hop variant cover. That's the Nas recreation of Illmatic. Just one of the best hip-hop variant covers out there. And about 5 months ago, this book went through the stratosphere. It used to be a $10 book, $50 book, and it just blew up into a $500 book. I haven't looked at the prices on it in a while. It's probably dropped a little bit, but it's still an iconic book to have. From that series also, if you go to Spider-Man #12, that it became a really big book. That's the first kiss between Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen, Gwen Stacy. Kind of, throwback to Peter Parker and the original Gwen Stacy. So really nice. That Spider-Man #12 also has a variant to it that is super, super hard to get in a 9.8 because of the complete black background to it. It's really hard. It's Richard Isanov, I believe it is the creator of that book, but tough book to find in a 9.8. Now, Marvel then came out with Spider-Man 2, which is a next follow-up to that hit for Spider-Man 1. Issue #1, there was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, which I did get. And what they did was they took a Michael Turner Spider-Man cover and made it into a Miles Morales. So it's a Turner Miles Morales cover, and it's great. I love it. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous cover. Even though we know that Michael Turner had already passed before Miles Morales was created. So unfortunately, we didn't get to see his true rendition of what Miles Morales would look like. For that Spider-Man 2 #1, there's also a beautiful Gabrielle Delgado 1 in 25 variant, which I was able to pick up. And it's great. I mean, you take a look at the cover. It's just stunning cover. Delgado does some of the best artwork out there. Love it all the time. If you look at the prices on this surprised me, but Miles Morales, Spider-Man #1, the 4th series, which is like the ongoing series, that book is demanding $20 to $30 now. It's Brian Stelfreeze, I believe, did the cover. It's a great cover, but it's just the 4th series, so it's not anything where it's like the first series for Miles or anything else. But for some reason, people love that series and they love that book. So book to look for. That's a book that you can find on the cheap, you know. With the Miles Morales Spider-Man #1, there's also the 1 in 10 animation variant, which has the recreation of Spider-Man swinging through. It's from the Edge of Spider-Verse series, and that book carries some weight right now. It's a nice cover to have. They did a bunch of them. They did one for Spider-Ham, Spider-Gwen, but the Miles is probably the best one to own right there. So pretty nice book. They also did for that Miles Morales series of Spider-Man a Comics Pro variant. So at one of the bigger conventions, all of the retailers were invited to get that issue of Spider-Man, and they give it to retailers only. So I was able to secure a copy through eBay once I saw it. Got it cheap when it was first coming out for like $35. There was that at that show. They had that one, and they had the first Silk #1, I believe it was, and everybody was buying up the Silk. I went and looked for the Miles, which was cheaper, and it worked out to my benefit. So the 4th series of Miles has introduced some characters now that we could speculate on somewhere down the line. So like Miles Morales #8 has the first appearance of the Assessor, and that's a ghoulish villain who physically tortures Miles Morales. So that was kind of interesting to see where that goes down the line. Miles Morales #13 is the first appearance of Billy Morales, Miles' little sister. So another book that you should be looking for. There's also a second print which shows the actual birth of the child. You know, when her first panel in the books, it's the cover. So another book to look for. And then these are just some books that have recently come out, but I want to bring to your attention because I love them. IG Comic Store has been putting out some really, really good variants, and they limit their books to like 800 copies for the virgins. So they've been really nice, and they did one for issue #25, which is a Del Otto cover, which is just amazing. It's Miles doing that Spider-Man perch. It's a really, really nice cover. There's also the #25, the Mike Mayhew drip variant. It's called the drip variant for some reason. And it's fire. I need to get this book. I don't have it in the collection, but I will own one. I'm telling you that. And then the last one that comes in that 25 is the homage variant to Ultimate Fallout 4 by Raza, who does some fantastic work. And I really like the way that book looks. My son saw it at Terrific Con, and he was like, "What is that? That is gorgeous." So book that we probably going to have to add to the collection. And that's it for now. Miles Morales, 10 years. Wow, that went fast. Great character with so much upswing that some of these minor keys right now will someday become the books to own. So I just want to show you those books, show you what can happen to the character in 10 years. You ask the New York Warriors and guys that know me for a while, I was invested in Miles Morales from the get-go. I just loved the story. I loved everything about him, the feel, the urban feel to him. You took a new perspective to Spider-Man and made it into something that society can enjoy. So yeah, that's my video. Let me know what you guys think. If there are any other variants or any other issues that you guys think are of importance to this, please leave a comment. And that way we could all share this with the community. Like my last video, I just got some really good information from people just explaining things that I didn't even know. And now we all share it together. That's what we are. We're one gigantic comic community. So road to 3,500 is close. Road to 4,000 is what we're shooting for, though. We're at about 3,400 subs. When we hit 4,000, we're going to do another giveaway. And stay tuned for that. But until my next video, peace.
My name's Miles Morales.
Hey, kid. You're like me.